The winding mountain road stretched out before Lily, the headlights of her car the only beacon in the thick, oppressive darkness. As she navigated the treacherous curves, the looming silhouette of the Shadowfield Hotel slowly came into view, its Gothic spires and shadowed turrets rising up against the inky night sky. Lily felt a shiver of unease run down her spine as she pulled into the hotel's dimly lit driveway. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and the distant howl of the wind through the surrounding trees. This place, she knew, was unlike anywhere she had ever been before. Stepping out of the car, Lily adjusted the strap of her overnight bag and cast a wary glance at the imposing structure before her. The Shadowfield Hotel was a true relic of a bygone era, its weathered stone facade and ornate embellishments a stark contrast to the modern world she had left behind. A sense of isolation and foreboding seemed to radiate from the very walls of the building, and Lily couldn't help but wonder what secrets it might be hiding. As Lily approached the heavy oak doors, she was met by a young man in a crisp hotel uniform. "Welcome to the Shadowfield Hotel, ma'am," he said, his voice tinged with an edge of unease. "I'm Jamal, the night manager. How may I assist you?" Lily offered him a tentative smile. "I have a reservation for a single room," she said, her gaze sweeping over the grand, yet unsettling lobby. The space was dimly lit, with shadows seeming to creep across the ornate furnishings and flickering candles casting an eerie glow. Jamal nodded and quickly retrieved her key, his movements stiff and hurried. "Right this way, please," he said, leading her towards a set of winding stairs. "I hope you'll find your stay comfortable." The way he hesitated on the word comfortable did not go unnoticed by Lily, and she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of apprehension. As they ascended the creaking steps, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. Reaching the second floor, Jamal paused outside a heavy wooden door, the key cutting a sharp silhouette against the darkness. "This is your room, ma'am," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "If you need anything, please don't hesitate to let me know." Lily nodded, her fingers closing around the key as Jamal offered it to her. "Thank you," she murmured, her gaze searching his face for any further clues about the hotel's unsettling atmosphere. But Jamal simply offered a terse nod and turned to leave, his footsteps echoing down the deserted hallway. Lily watched him go, a feeling of unease creeping up her spine. With a steadying breath, she turned the key in the lock and stepped inside her room, unsure of what she might find. The room was large and elegantly furnished, but there was an undeniable air of neglect about it. The wallpaper was peeling in the corners, and the once ornate furnishings were covered in a thin layer of dust. Lily set down her bag and moved to the window, drawing back the heavy curtains to reveal a view of the hotel's sprawling, overgrown gardens, shrouded in darkness. As Lily stood there, taking in her strange new surroundings, the sound of the door creaking open behind her caused her to whirl around, her heart pounding. But it was only another hotel guest, a middle-aged man in a crisp suit, stepping into the hallway. "Oh, I'm sorry," the man said, his gaze sweeping over Lily. "I didn't mean to startle you. I'm Michael, by the way, checking in for a conference." Lily offered him a hesitant smile, her nerves still on edge. "I'm Lily. I'm just here for a quiet getaway." She paused, glancing back toward the window. "This place is something, isn't it?" Michael chuckled dryly, shaking his head. "That's one way to put it. The Shadowfield has quite the reputation, from what I've heard. Personally, I'm a bit skeptical of all the ghost stories, but I suppose we'll see." Lily nodded, her fingers unconsciously tightening around the windowsill. "I suppose we will," she murmured, her gaze once again drawn to the shadowed, overgrown gardens beyond the glass. What secrets might this place be hiding? As Michael headed off down the hallway, Lily turned back to her room, the heavy door creaking shut behind her. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, and Lily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Swallowing hard, she moved to the bed, sinking down onto the edge of the worn mattress. This place, she realized, was like nothing she had ever experienced before. The Shadowfield Hotel seemed to exist in a realm all its own, removed from the modern world and cloaked in an aura of mystery and unease. And as Lily sat there, her hands trembling slightly, she couldn't help but wonder what unseen forces might be lurking within its ancient, shadowed walls. Sarah took a deep breath as the headlights of her car illuminated the dark road ahead. She had set out to escape the city and find some peace. However, the distant and isolated location of the Windcrest Hotel made her question her decision for a moment. The hotel, looming before her, had lost its former glory and was shrouded in shadows. As she pulled into the small parking area in front of the hotel, the scent of damp earth and the distant hoot of an owl sent a chill down her spine. She grabbed her bag and walked towards the heavy wooden door. The sign above, weathered by years, barely readable, still read, "Windcrest Hotel." When Sarah reached the door, it creaked open, revealing an old, hunched man standing in the doorway. "Welcome," the man said, his face lined with the wrinkles of age. "I'm Henry, the night clerk. How can I assist you?" Sarah managed a forced smile. "I have a reservation. A single room, please." Henry shuffled behind a wooden counter, flipping through an old ledger. "Yes, here you are. Here's your key," he said, handing her a rusty key. "Your room is on the second floor, number 203. The stairs are to your left." As she took the key, Sarah noticed the tremor in Henry's hand. "Thank you," she said, heading towards the stairs. The stairs creaked with each step, as if whispering secrets. The corridors were dimly lit, with old wallpaper peeling away and carpets worn by time. When she reached her room and opened the door, a cold draft hit her face. The room was spacious but clearly neglected. The walls were yellowed, and the furniture was covered in dust. Sarah opened the window to let some fresh air in. From the window she could see the dense forest behind the hotel, adding to her sense of isolation. As she unpacked, she heard faint footsteps in the corridor. She peeked out the door, but saw no one. For a moment, she thought she saw the shadows on the walls move. Shaking her head to clear the thought, she tried to relax and lay down on the bed. In the middle of the night, Sarah woke suddenly. The room felt colder, and the door was slightly ajar. Her heart racing, she got up to close the door. As she did, she heard a whisper behind her. Turning quickly, she saw a shadowy figure in the corner of the room. Frozen with fear, she struggled to breathe. "Were TMs there?" she asked, her voice trembling. The figure approached silently, and Sarah stepped back, falling onto the edge of the bed. The figure looked like a young woman in old-fashioned clothing, her face blurry but her eyes filled with deep sorrow and anger. The woman whispered softly, "Set me free." As Sarah tried to understand the meaning, the door slammed shut, and the figure disappeared. Panting with fear, she ran to the door and into the corridor. She dashed to Henry's desk and frantically explained what had happened. Henry nodded calmly. "This hotel has a dark history, Sarah. That woman's spirit is trapped here. If you can solve her story, she might find peace. With trembling hands, Sarah handed the key back to Henry. "I need to leave," she said, her fear evident in her voice. Henry took the key and nodded.